was watching something interesting this morning that I think was pretty interesting. You know, how you get targeted. I was checking Facebook and got targeted by it was a video from Watch, and it was a Dave Ramsey video. And it was, when's the bubble going to burst? And like, ooh, got to watch that. Clickbait worked, right? So I watched a 7-minute little clip of Dave Ramsey this morning and talking about the real estate market. And the guy had called in and he said, hey, you know, my wife and I are thinking about selling our house, getting into a better school district and a little safer neighborhood. And we've got a lot of equity. And we're thinking we've got an opportunity to live in my father-in-law's house. He's got an extra house, so we could stay there for free. We're afraid the bubble's about to burst, and we're just going to cash out and then sit on the sidelines, wait for everything to crash, and then buy again. What are your thoughts? And I was like, ooh, I like this one. Where's it going to go? Right? Because truly, could that go either way of how the market was going to be? And Dave Ramsey, you know, I like his advice. He's smart, logical thinker. And I was like, I wonder where this one's going to go. So he said, look, there is no bubble. There is no bubble. This is not a bubble. And let's talk about what open free market really is. And he said, I've had my license since 1976. And I got my appraiser's license, all the information I've learned, my MBA, master's in real estate, and just the overlying fundamental law of supply and demand never fails, right? And what's market value? Market value is when you have a buyer and a seller agreeing on a transaction where neither party is in duress, right? So he goes, foreclosure short sale, not the case. Open market, yes. 50 offers, 50 willing buyers, right? It is not an overheated market. It is not an overpriced market. It is a free market. And prices are not going to go down. Prices are never going to go down. It's not going to happen. And if you don't buy now, you're going to kick yourself in your ass because you're able to take advantage of two colliding markets. You've got the best seller's market ever just because of supply and demand. And you have an amazing buyer market because of interest rates. So he goes, this has never been a better time to buy. And you absolutely should buy. And the market will not go down. Now, it will not go up at the crazy frivolous pace that it's at, but it's not going to go down. And I thought that was pretty interesting commentary on this one. He goes, now let's talk about markets that might have an issue. He goes, Florida, not one of them. Why? Because everybody wants to live there. California, issue. There's a steady stream of U-Hauls with people leaving that state, flooding into all the other states. So if there were to be a micro economy that's going to have some problems, it's California. But there's so many people there, it's going to take a long time for that problem to show itself. But you go to a state like Florida, you go to a state like Texas, you go to a state like North Carolina, where everyone is flocking to right now, 0% chance that the markets are going to go down. The fundamentals are strong. So I was very excited for that because he's got such a huge following, and it certainly resonates with everything we've been talking about. And because we kind of do know what we're doing, we've been doing this for a long time. We understand supply and demand and markets and trends and what's going on. So I wanted to open up with that and see if you guys had any comments on that, or see what your thoughts were on statements such as that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that actually over the weekend too. I went for a long run on Saturday morning, and it kind of occurred to me, like, who's in control over how high the market can get? We are, right? The buyer is, because at the end of the day, I was thinking about this, right? Let's just take something smaller. Let's take a Louis Vuitton purse, right? Are there people that think that Louis Vuitton is an overpriced piece of leather? Yep. Are there people, though, willing to pay thousands of dollars for it? Yep. And if there weren't, then Louis Vuitton would not be able to sell at that price, right? So just logically speaking, who's really setting the tone? As a seller, I could put my house on the market right now. I could list my house, say, okay, I want $1 million. I can want that all day long, but if no one's willing to come and pay it, then it's not worth $1 million, right? But if 5 people raise their hand and say, yeah, I'll pay $1 million for that house, then guess what? My house is worth $1 million. But who's in control? The market controls everything. What someone is willing to pay determines what we can actually sell it for. That's it. Right? At the
Yep.
end of the day, if no one right now, if no one was willing to pay these higher prices, the prices would come down. We'd have no choice, right? Every single house in the marketplace would come down. The reality is there are people willing to pay things. And when there are people willing to pay it, then that becomes what it's worth. As human beings, as the market, we set the tone, we set the price, but then we complain about it, which is the funniest part, right? I complain, well, Jeff's willing to pay $5,000 for that purse. That's stupid. Well, sorry, Jeff's willing to pay $5,000 for it.
Not
So
just
guess
my
what?
shoes, damn it.
So that is $5,000 now. That purse is $5,000. Just because I'm not willing to pay it doesn't mean it's not worth it. Because
Not
whoever
worth
is
it to
willing
you.
pay it makes it worth it. It's not worth it to me, right? Which is a personal decision. This is the funniest thing about this whole thing to me. Everything we do is a personal decision, right? So I think we spend way too much time trying to figure out what's happening and what's causing that. No, listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Whoever's willing to pay a price at that particular time is what it's worth. End of story. Now, as supply and demand, right? That yes, those true fundamentals will always hold true. It's in every industry. The housing market is no exception. And so as there's less supply and people have the money and they're willing to pay it, then the price is going to go up. And when that price hits a ceiling that no one's willing to pay above that, then guess what? It's going to halt and eventually it may start to come down. But we don't control that. But we should certainly take advantage of it, right? That'd be silly for Louis Vuitton to be like, you know what? I know someone's willing to pay $5,000 for this purse, but I'm only going to sell it for $1,000. Why? Someone's willing to pay $5,000, right? Why would you not continue to push it? So as people that take advantage of the market, we should be taking advantage of it. And you should be advising your clients to do the same.
And as far as generating our business, I think we have major decisions that we do. Every one of us, every single one of us, I don't care if you're one of our West Palm Beach agents, Orlando agents, Tampa Bay agents, every one of us decides which market we're going to work in. Because every one of us has multi-million-dollar homes in it, and every one of us has $100,000 and something houses too, right? It's just true. But you get the point, right? And all within our drive from our home, depending on which direction we turn, in 28 minutes, we could be in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood or a not so much, right? So we get to determine where we're going to work. We get to determine what kind of business we want. We get to determine what kind of clients we want. We get to determine what kind of financing we want to deal with. We get to deal with what kind of emotions we want to play with, right? It's just the facts, right? It's the truth. It's crazy, you know? And there's arguments for both. I know some of our agents use Bob Dean's word, popcorn houses, right? The $200,000 to $300,000 homes, they just pop. It's not a hard thing to do 5, 6, 7, 8 of those a month, right? Or there's some of us that want to work in $10, $20 million projects, right? There's just not as many of those, but when they pop, it's a loud one. It's just not that frequent. And then if you want to sell a house, right? The $2 million houses, used to not sell as fast as $200,000 houses. Right now they do, but it's just a different market. So one of the things we want to chat about today is how do we pick the markets you want and how do you go get it? And I was looking around for a cool little outfit to kind of go old school today with the video, but I want to hit old school today because it's relevant and it's real. And if there's any resistance to doing social targeting, any digital marketing, that's fine, right? Doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't want to do social, that's fine. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But our job as your business coaches and partners is to give you opportunities and things to go get business, right? So one of the things Pooh and I were talking about yesterday is let's go hit a little old school today because this market's not going to stop. It's not going to change. It's not going to go down. It's not going to crash. People are going to have to just get used to the fact that we live in a majorly desirable area and it's beautiful and it's fantastic and people from all around the world want to live here. And we're going to have to deal with that, right? We get to live where people are dying to be and people save their whole life to come for a week, right? We're lucky. we're grateful, we're blessed, however you want to put it. But your business is up to you. So what would I do? And of course, put social digital aside. I want to go real, tangible, that every single person can do this, no matter how long you've been in the business, how young you are, how old you are, doesn't matter, right? What would I do if me personally, I'll just go, I prefer nice things, which require income to pay for. And I'd like to do a transaction that spits out nice checks, right? So if that were the case, I'd have to sit back and say, okay, well, where's a desirable area that homes sell for a lot of money that I would like to do business in? And that doesn't take any of us long to figure out which neighborhood in your area is the really nice neighborhood. All you got to do is figure out where that is, and then figure out how to talk to the people. We know where they are. We know who they are. We know what they live in. We know how much they paid. We know who their mortgage is with. We know everything about them. I've got their phone number. We could probably get their email address. I could check them out on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, right? Everywhere. I know everything about anybody I want to know anything about. What a lovely asset that is right now. So if I, as an agent, said, you know what, this quarter, that's it. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to get my first $1 million+ listing. Why not? Then you're just going to go do it. And then I would go into those neighborhoods and say, okay, who lives here? What's the turnover, where they are? Don't even have to get any analytics behind this one. I can go into Remine. I can export a list of everybody. I don't care if they're absentee owners or not. I had to say the word. I don't care. I want that entire neighborhood to know about me. I want that entire neighborhood to know I'm here. I want that entire neighborhood to know that we're good. And I want that entire neighborhood to reach out to me when they're contemplating any real estate thought process or decision. That's what I need to be doing right now. So that's the simple. So let's talk about ways that we would do that. What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me,
internet goes down. So boom, internet and electromagnetic pulse bomb goes off. What knocks out the internet? There is no social as an option. How do you get your word out?
Well, I mean, literally, if you have no internet or computer whatsoever, then you're going to have no choice but to go pick a neighborhood and go start knocking on doors, right? That literally is what's left. And that is one of the most old school ways. Now, one thing that I wanted to make clear today was the ability that we have in today's world to really mix the two worlds together, right? So not say the internet goes away entirely, but let's say that using the internet exclusively is not the answer, because I'm not sure that it always is, right? So let's just use this as an example, right? Some of the old school methods, you got door knocking, you got snail mail, you got postcards, you got all these things, right? And I get a rep sometimes for being against those things. I'm not against those things in any way, shape, or form. I'm for them. I'm for them, though, in a 2021 world where we can be more strategic about it. So rather than me say, you know what, I'm going to go mail a postcard to every single person in this neighborhood, I would personally rather go into Remine and now blend the two worlds, right? Because I don't have to, this isn't 1995 where I do just have to blanket a neighborhood. What I can do is use a tool like Remine, go in, pull that neighborhood, pull those with a medium and high sell score, see how many that is, and then maybe start there. So now maybe I have 500, and my neighborhood's massive, so there's thousands of people in my neighborhood, but maybe 500 of them have a medium to high sell score. Well, now instead of blanketing to 4,000 people, maybe now I just hit those 400 to 500. And if I really want to get contextual, maybe I am going to maybe I'm going to hit all three segments, but I'm going to get more contextual with each one, knowing that the smaller that group gets, the better and more deep I need to go, right? So as an example, maybe I'm going to hit the low sell score just from a branding perspective. And that's how can I bring value to that group? Right? So maybe that direct mail piece that I'm sending to the low sales score is CMA, you know, offering something of value just to start to build brand and try and connect. Then I'm hitting the medium sales score with something a little bit more contextual, and that's a smaller number. And then the high sales score, for some of you, if you're working particular neighborhoods, which I know a lot of you are, a lot of that times that's 10, 15, 30 people. 30, right? We're not talking about hot. So what if instead of that, what if that was Jeff? And instead of me sending a generic piece of mail to Jeff, I actually go and pull Jeff's address because I have that data now. And now I can send Jeff a postcard, go drop it off on his doorstep that says, hey, Jeff, did you know that you've got $238,000 in equity in this house? Love to chat. Sign, personally sign, or his name and picture of his house that I got off Zillow or Google Earth is on that postcard. Is that more powerful than sending him something generic, right? Now it's an old school delivery. I'm delivering him something, right? It's hand-to-hand combat. This isn't me hitting him up on Facebook or Instagram. This is old school from a delivery perspective, but it's leveraging the data and technology that we do have at our fingertips. And if I really want to get Jeff's attention, as he's going through all of his mail and all the crap, and all of a sudden he sees a postcard that's got his name on it, a picture of his house. You don't think he's going to stop and read that? Of course he is, right? Yep. What is that? He's going to read it. And at the end of the day, with that type of delivery, that's all we want. We want him to stop and take a look, right? Now, is it going to happen on the first go around? Probably not. I'm probably going to have to do a couple of those before someone raises their hand, but that's just how I would approach it. I think there's a lot of value in door knocking. I think there's a lot of value in the direct mail, but why would I go knock on every door right away when I could narrow it down before I ever even leave my house to know from an analytic perspective, who is the most likely to do something, and let me start there. Let me knock on those 50 doors first. And then let me go to the mediums and knock on those couple hundred doors over the next week next. Then I can start knocking on the other doors, right? I would segment out because I want to be as efficient as I can, despite the actual execution being old school, if that's what we want to call
it. And that works. I'll give you a different a twist on that, because I 100% agree. That is the priority, right? If you're going to prioritize your time, might as well go to where the potential low-hanging fruit is the one with an algorithm that's telling you that they're low-hanging fruit, right? So don't ignore that. Now, like from my perspective, from a development standpoint, I work really one town, right? And I take this town personally. Like I have walls up around this town in my mind. And anybody that comes in these walls, I'm going to kill them if they try to step on my turf, right? I'm not joking. I'm not going to let anybody else get market share in this town, period, because I just decided that's my case, right? So what did I do? Entrench myself everywhere in this town, and everybody who's doing anything, I know. I repeatedly go to lunch with. I go meet for a beer. I go to every commission meeting. I go talk with every commissioner. I'm on Nextdoor. I'm on the Facebook groups. I comment in the Facebook groups. I'm in everybody's face. I got half the people that like me. I got half the people that hate me, right? But that's okay, right? But all the projects are going on to do it. Now, I just use that as an example because how passionate are you about your neighborhood, right? I love my neighborhood. I mean, there's no greater thing I could ever say about this town that I live in. I physically, from every pore in my body, love it, right? And I'm committed to making it the best town in the world, right? Not just the county. What are you committed to? Which neighborhood do you want to own? Which town do you want to be known in? Because it's not a town, right? Really, I mean, my town's 1,400 people, right? It's not a big town, right? It's like your community. Puma's community is way bigger than my town, right? Your subdivision, right? So, but what is it? What is it? Where is your neighborhood? Where do you want to be known? Do you want to be known? You may not say, I don't care about a neighborhood. I don't want to do a neighborhood. I just want to snag people on Instagram because they see my butt, right? Whatever. Maybe that's your, whatever it is. But if you want to have a geographic location, right, that you want to own, do exactly what Puma was just talking about. Prioritize the lowest hanging fruit and then get to everybody. Because there's a lot of value in talking with Myrtle, who's lived in her house for 15 years, who's not selling. Absolutely not selling. She will die there because she loves it and she's lived there forever and she will not move. She's a huge ally. She is your friend. She is your best employee, right? Because Myrtle doesn't work. Myrtle is nosy. Myrtle, it creeps around the neighborhood. Myrtle knows everything about everybody. She knows who fights. She knows whose dog died. She knows who's doing what, right? You need to know your Myrtles, right? That, and she's not on an algorithm sensor of a high, medium, or a low cell score. She's just under the radar. So after you're done with the high, mediums, and lows, it's important to know the Myrtles, right? Because she will be your biggest asset because you're going to help her help you. And that's just the case. So that's the point of doing a small, targetable geographic area with consistency. I mean, I would leverage Every Door Direct with the postcards you're talking about also because it's next to nothing cheap. Okay. Like put something in help, right? Did you know that the average days on the market is 14 seconds, right? There is such a backlog of buyers and we really need somebody, but something generic. And you can do that, right? In addition to the snipers, right? There's farming and there's sniper hunting, okay? What Puma's talking about, we're snipering. Who is top? I'm going to go overboard. I might even mail you something, just FedEx, UPS overnight, something to you, right? If you're really a high sell score and you've got a nice open water property, and I know you're going to be super high demand, I will stand out, right? And just go contextually to you and just go as deep as I can. So that's the point that I was going to make. So go prioritize and take an area because you can't be known to everybody, guys. You know this, nor do you need to or want to, right? Why, right? But you should be the queen or king of Orange Blossom Trails or whatever, wherever it is. Just become the mayor of that town, become the mayor of that neighborhood, and it'll pay off extremely well for you if you don't want to go the other way. Because Puma scale is important, right? You can become known in a zip code or a city relatively easily with consistency and a marginal spend, right? If you were to just hit nonstop image advertising for yourself on the smallest geographic radius you can hit and become known. But you're never going to be able to specialize, but you will get business. And that's okay too, because you don't need to specialize. You can just be the master of real estate. That's fine. And you can sell townhomes and single family and apartments and mobile homes and cars, whatever you want. You can, it's a free country, right? But if you want to be super contextual and known as the waterfront specialist in Apollo Beach, then you might as well maybe brand yourself that way and only become relevant to the waterfront homeowners in Apollo Beach because you don't really care about the people who live in Waterset because they don't live on the water, right? If you're going to make that commitment and take that stand, do it.
But that's an important point, right? Because if you think about any big brand, right, what we're really talking about here is branding yourself, but doing so in a meaningful school kind of way, right? And it's the same way that real brands build themselves. When Nike first came out with shoes, they focused, right, on shoes, and they focused on shoes of basketball players. And then they went out and got the greatest basketball player of all time, and then that kind of built the brand, right? But they didn't go after the 97-year-old at first. That wasn't their goal, right? They didn't go after, they knew their market and they went after it. Any big brand you can think of, they went after a particular niche, they built their brand and then slowly scaled from there, right? And you have the ability to do the same thing. In the real estate world, you're building your brand. You're deciding what type of brand you want to build. Problem is, you've got to know who that target audience is and commit yourself to them. Because if you don't, it's not going to work, right? If Nike tried to go to skateboarding and everywhere else right from the get-go, it wouldn't have worked. They never would have built a brand. They built a brand on building a quality shoe, right? Then wanted to take that basketball shoe and move into soccer and move into baseball and move into every other sport and then into casual wear. everyone knew, oh, wait, they have a great quality product and a big brand. Sure, I bet that shoe's good too. Right. Oh, and if they can make quality shoes, I'm sure their shirts are awesome too. And they slowly built on it. Now, as a agent, think about this, right? And I won't say her name because she does not work for us. But typical number one agent in the world for Century 21 is in your market, Jeff. And
Yes,
she built her brand very quickly, doing what? Picking out $1 million homes, knocking on those doors until someone finally said sure. And then guess what happened? Her sign went up in the neighborhood. It sold. And then the neighbor's like, she just got 3 million for that house. Interesting. They call the neighbor, hey, how was it? Well, she got 3 million bucks. Awesome. They call, right? And now all of a sudden she's knocking. Now, was she also going around to $200,000 homes and knocking on their doors? No. Nope. She didn't care. She knocked on multi-million-dollar homes until she got enough people to say yes. And as the sign went up, she started building a brand that she was the person who could sell multi-million-dollar homes. And that's where her focus was. That's where her brand was. Now she's got people that work with her. And is she also selling a $500,000 house? Yep. Right. But that was the scale that came after the fact. Because if she could sell every $1 million house, she could certainly sell a $300,000 house, right? And you see how this builds, guys. It's not that you're pigeonholed and that you can never do the other thing. But at the same time, you have to pick something. Lamborghini didn't make a SUV for a very long time. They were a sports car. Then they realized, wait a minute, there's rich people who also need SUVs. Let's make that, right? So it's that evolution. But you have to start somewhere. And you got to pick where that is and then go after it, build your brand, and then you can slowly scale.
That's it. All right. And you just get the niche. Right? And one of the clients that's an investor in one of the Marriott hotel that we're doing here on the beach, he pulled up to the meeting the other day in his brand new Mercedes or Rolls Royce SUV, badass car, right? $400,000 for the SUV, right? There is not one ad for a Rolls Royce SUV, right? You ever notice that? They don't, because they don't have to, because the market's so small, and it's friends of the friends who have it, pretty much is the way it works is their whole branding strategy out there. Same thing with Lambos. You don't flip open and see a Lamborghini advertisement.
A lot of times you can't. I remember, my best friend, his uncle had a Ferrari. And when this is when they first released the F430, you couldn't just go buy it. You had to be invited by Ferrari to be able to be on a list to buy one, right? And the only way you were invited is if you already previously owned a Ferrari of a certain level or higher to even be eligible to be invited. Then from there, you had to be invited. From there, you were on a wait list. And then when they called your name, you had like 3 months to put the money down and buy it, or otherwise you were done, right?
Yep.
It's that exclusiveness, but they can't do that unless there's a market for it, right? And they built and earned the right to be able to do that by building such a culture with their brand that people want their product, right? They want that car because it's built and designed by Ferrari. Same thing you guys can do. They want you. And so they will do what it takes to get you if you build your brand and build the reputation of being the best. And the only way you're going to do that is if you pick a niche and you own it. And then you will become known as being the best, and they will want you.
But here's the point of it. We have to be really clear on this too. You have to do enough of this, because if 10 people get your postcard, 5 of them don't like you, right? Because of your hair, because of your shirt, because of your name, because of whatever it is. It doesn't matter, but that's just the world, right? But who cares? So you can't just call 5 people and think you're going to get business, guys. You can't send out 10 cards and say, oh, shoot, this didn't work. You've got to get committed to talking to people at scale, right? I don't care how you do it, but you have to do it. If you're honest with yourself right now, how many new people did you talk with last week about real estate? New people, brand new people about selling your house? How many, let's get more specific. How many people did you talk with last week and specifically say, we have a major inventory issue? You know people I don't know. Who do you know that's even remotely close to hypothetically considering the possible opportunity of maybe selling their house for more than it's ever been worth before in the history of the planet? Right? How many times did you have that conversation last week? And if you have a pit in your stomach right now, worrying we're going to ask you to turn your camera on and answer the question live, right? I hope so you do, right? Because you have to have that awareness to know that means I don't get a check 3 weeks from now, right? It's tough love, but it's true. If you didn't talk to people last week about selling real estate, you will have no check in 4 weeks from now. If you don't talk to anybody today, you will not have another check 4 weeks from now. If you talk to people today, you likely will have a check 4 weeks from now, right? But if you talk to 2 people today, the likelihood of having a check is far less than if you talk to 20 people today. That's just the nature of the beast, guys. And it's just about engagement, starting real estate conversations that you can go back and forth with, building trust, seeing, then the skill starts, guys. Once you have the conversation of, hey, I got your postcard, that's just when the sales begins. That's the top of the funnel, because you can blow it when you didn't pay attention to how they said hello, right? If you weren't paying attention to whether a D, an I, an S, or a C, did he call you in a visual mode or an auditory mode or a kinesthetic mode? If you're listening, if you're letting the basics fly by, guys, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's wasting time. The whole point is getting them to you and then connect.
Well, we need to understand too that not only is it top of the funnel, but one mailer is like running one ad, right? That's like them seeing it one time. How many of you have bought something the very first time you've seen it? Is it more likely that you're going to buy it something after the third, fourth, fifth time you see it? For a lot of us, the answer is yes, right?
27 times.
Nike didn't run one ad. They hit you over and over and over again from multiple directions, multiple times, right? It's the same concept. So if you guys think you're going to run one mailer to one neighborhood and it's going to work, a lot of you stop because, oh, I didn't get the results. It was one time. That's like running one commercial and expecting everyone to buy.
It's like eating one piece of lettuce and wondering why you didn't lose weight.
Yeah, you go to the gym one time, and you're like, oh, that didn't work. Didn't lose anything, right? I mean, it's guys, listen, you got to have patience, but you got to come up with a strategy that you believe in so that you'll commit to it, which means that you're going to do it until it works, right? And that doesn't mean that we're inefficient. It just means that if we're doing what we say, now we're getting really strategic about it, which means we know it will work. It just might take some time, right? And then it is top of the funnel. And that means that when we're building the postcard, when we're building the design, when we're writing the letter, we're taking DISC into account, right? Because we don't know who's on the other side. I don't know if any of you have been to our recruiting site, but one of the things that pops up is, do you want a personalized experience? And a lot of our potential recruits take that, because when they click that button, guess what? It asks them a series of questions, identifies what their personality type is, and then sends them to our recruiting site that's designed for that personality, because we know what's connect with that personality. Right now, why are we doing that? It's not a trick. It's the same info. It's just pitched differently because we owe it to them. I want them to have the best experience possible. And how can I deliver that best experience? Well, I can deliver it in a way that's going to speak to them most effectively, right? And if they're an I, that's going to be different than if they're a D, than if they're an S, or if they're a C. And so I've got to speak their language. You guys have to do the same thing. When you're sending that postcard, you don't know who's on the other side. Same thing when you're writing your bios. You don't know who's reading that bio. So you got to be able to speak to all of them, right? But if we just create a generic mailer, that's not the same. So there's always a next level. There's always a way to raise the game. There's always a way to get better at whatever the actual execution is, but we have to want to be strategic about it, because that's what it is. This is strategy. This isn't just, let me throw something up here at the dartboard and see if I hit. It's not how this works.
Because there's some of you on Monday morning really have no clue where your week's going to take you. right? And it could take you to a condo, a townhouse, a house, and God knows which county, right? If you're lucky. Or it could be a flat out washout, nothing. Or it could be a deliberate week where you only are going to talk with people in $1 million neighborhood. Guess who gets to decide? It's you. You're either reactive, you're proactive, and you're going to make it happen, or it's going to happen to you. Or if you hide and smoke weed and eat Cheetos on your beanbag, nothing's going to happen. And those are your choices for how this week's going to actually play out. Here, I just saw a note from my dad, just chimed in regarding the email about the old school for the meeting this morning. And he wrote back, he said, old school, there's 5 things. Number 1, who are you? Number 2, what do you want? Number 3, what schedule will you work to get what you want? Number 4, will you let somebody kick your ass to get you what you want? Number 5, what lane are you going to focus on? New school is the same as old school. You just need to do it. True? True.
100%.
It goes back to, guys, I don't know. Just imagine, if you will, what it's like from this perspective to to come up with something every day. Like, think about Craig, for example, every day to come up with a separate hour of other things to talk about to get you guys to do something, right? That because you're so much better than you think you are. We see it for you before you see it. And I'll tell you what really drives us is watching you realize what we already see about you. Right? That's really the fun part about this job from our perspective, is watching the light bulb come on and say, God, you know what? I just figured it out. All I need to do is figure out, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Appreciate both. You don't have to fix them, just appreciate them and understand where they are. 2, what kind of lifestyle do I want that puts a big ass smile on my face? Let me get clear about that and write that down. Man, that's a cool lifestyle. Man, that's going to take me 25 grand a month to live that way. Whoa, let me battle this drunk monkey for a minute. You don't need 25 grand. Okay, go ahead, drunk monkey. Tell me all the bullshit. I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, too skinny, I'm too young. Okay, I hear you. Yes, the market's gonna crash. No, it's not. I hear you. Okay, shut up. Right? I want to live this lifestyle. It's 25 grand a month. That's gonna cost me 3 deals. I could do 3 deals a month, and I could be living this lifestyle, and that puts a big ass smile on my face. Okay, where's the path of least resistance? What's the easiest way I could find deal number 1? What's the number 1 easiest way I could do? You know, I've got a core of people that like me, trust me, and know that I care about them. Let me call them and see if real estate's happening in their world. Somebody around them's got to be doing something. Hi. Got something that you didn't, right? And then you just go, what's the second lowest hanging fruit? Right? And then you just go until you get 3 deals and you got 25 grand and you got a big ass smile on your face. And then you do it again next month. And then you do it again next month. And then you think about the next quarter and you say, that was fun. I'm going to do the same thing. Or that was exhausting. I'm going to do less. Or that was interesting. What if I got to 50? Right? And then guess what? Lowest hanging fruit, watch, rinse, repeat. Next quarter, sit back, pause and reflect. What is that all about? Right? That's all this is, guys. It's just a simple game. It's a sport that just is to be played with skill. And the more skill you have, the better you are at your sport. That's just the fun part, guys. And all we're doing is coming up with different angles to get you to see the simplicity of living the life that you deserve to be living with a big ass smile on your face. That's it. And if it's a postcard, do the damn postcard. If it's a contextual letter, write the damn thing. Right? Don't do a generic stuff that you throw out. Be realistic for a second. What crap do you throw into your trash can on a daily basis? And then if you're thinking about doing anything remotely resembling that, smack yourself and say, stop it. Right? Listen to what Puma said earlier. A picture of my house with my name on it, with my equity written on it, that takes me literally 2 minutes to find that information. To not do that, what are you in this business for, guys? That'll put 20 grand in your pocket.
on a commission for a nice house that's contextual with a high sales score on the water or a nice community in any one of your areas right now. No excuse. There's no shortage of money. There's such an abundant flow of cash, ridiculous abundant flow of cash right now. Better, bigger than we've ever seen in the history ever in this industry, ever, right? Just my little microcosm here, same as yours. I got people from all over the world with millions of dollars in cash to invest right now. And so do you. But if we don't have the inventory, we will not be attractive. Period. They're not going to go on to Zillow and send their lead information through, guys. Come on. They're going to find the people that have the business and they're going to want to work with them. If you have inventory, you win. If you have inventory, you stand out. If you have inventory, you're going to have one hell of a nice lifestyle. If you don't, you're going to miss the party. And this party is not going to stop. It's not, the crazy ass party is going to slow down to a cool party, right? But it's not going to be a wild one. It's wild. This quarter is still wild. It's going to be wild ass crazy. You're going to get 30, 40 offers on your listings. You're going to have 28 people an hour through your open house. It's just going to happen if you have inventory. If you don't, you're going to be sitting in your car down the street saying, damn, look at that agent. They got 50 people through the thing. I don't have shit, right? You don't want to be that second person. Get inventory. It's not hard. It just requires concerted effort to make sure that you talk to people on a daily basis to see who is likely to sell their home next, and then say hi with skill, with pause, in neutral, to realize everything you can gather about them before you actually present, so you can say, hey, hi, what's up? Hi, well, hey, hi, right? That's where the money is made right there. That's the point, guys. So let's just go to what you're gonna do. Path of least resistance, and I don't want you to take path of least resistance the wrong way. That doesn't mean do nothing and be lazy. It means what are you going to resist less, right? What is going to freak the drunk monkey out the least? Everything's going to freak him out. Every single thing you're going to do is going to create anxiety, doubt, fear, and stress in your world. It just, embrace that fact, guys. You know this. Stop it. If you think there's anything that doesn't have that involved in it, you're tricking yourself and wasting all of our time. You're gonna have doubt, fear, and anxiety to grow in any level, to do anything different than you're currently doing them right now. I don't care if it's buy a new car. You're gonna have doubt, fear, and anxiety. Am I gonna lose my job? Market gonna crash? Am I gonna be able to make my payments? You shouldn't do it. Keep driving, you piece of crap. Right? That's what's gonna end up happening if you don't say, I'm in control of my own world. I make my own money. I don't care what the market does. We will do just fine. If the market pivoted today, we're smart. We'll figure it out and we will be ahead of the curve to capture that market. I think you guys know that, right? That's a challenge. And it's something we're ready for when it happens. It's not happening right now. What we're in right now will continue right now, especially for this quarter. So that's why we're saying double down, triple down, all of your cards, all of your chips, put on getting inventory, because that's what this market requires right now. And then don't go try to sell Mike Puma on moving his house, because he doesn't realize he should yet, and he's not until he does. But to keep saying that thing is a waste of everybody's energy. We're just going to laugh at him when rates go up to 5.5 and he's still in his house. I'm going to say, look at your kitchen. Ha ha, you could have had a nice one, but you didn't with less payments, right? But that's okay. Why would I spend my time doing that, even though I just did? Because it's fun. I want to find somebody who's getting divorced right now, or has triplets in the oven, and they're having a kid in 3 months and they need to move, or somebody just got a job transfer to Kentucky and needs to start the job on July 1st, right? Come on, guys. Let's find the people. Find the guy who lives in Chicago, that this is his third house he doesn't need, and it's off the charts with equity of 400 grand he could put into his pocket and go buy Bitcoin with, right? That's the guy you want right now. Call him. Send the postcard. Send the video text. Send them a cake. Send them a cupcake. Do something, right? What's it your job? Find somebody. Find some compelling reason to get them to want to talk with you. And then continue the conversation with skill, right? A little rant on that aspect of it. But guys, I just want to call out the ability to just have everything you possibly humanly want right now. because this is the time. This is the market. This is the quarter. Never ever seen this before. Never going to see it again. We're going to hold on to this for as long as humanly possible. And I can tell you Q2 is going to be this way. I don't know about Q3 yet. You don't know about Q3 yet. Nobody knows about Q3 yet, but we're writing deals for Q2 right now. So let's go get some more on that. Woo! I got to tone down the espresso every once in a while.
A little less.
But I think, but I think you guys, I think you can sense the passion and the love that's involved in that message, guys, because I don't want to see you miss this. This is unbelievable. If there's a badass party, I want you to come because you're going to experience it and you're going to have stories about it for the rest of your life. You're going to create wealth that's going to satisfy yourself and your family for life just by coming to the party. But I'm saying you need to have a listing to get in. That's all I'm saying, right? Get one. It's worth it. Come. That's it. That's all I have to say today.
I think we've said everything that needs to be said. So now it's just a matter of going out, doing it, finding something that you're going to be able to commit to and go and execute on it and being strategic and as smart about it as you can. It's time to put some logic back in the way we approach this business. I think sometimes our emotions take over and it's easy to just not think logically about certain things. I've certainly noticed that in the pandemic, there were just a lot of things that were happening in our world that just didn't seem logical to me. And I think it's just easy to get that way when things are emotional and there's a lot going on, and it's easy to get just not sit back and say, you know what, how can I go get what I want in the most efficient and logical way? And it's it, right? And when we do that, we can actually simplify this business down into a core activities. And if you go and you execute on those core activities, you're going to get what you want. And if you need help, that's what we're here for. You need help writing the flyer, reach out. You need help creating the graphic, reach out. You need help figuring out DISC, reach out. Jeff's great at it. Chris is great. Your manager, all your managers, they're great at it. They all practice it. They've been doing it for years. Reach out to them, get help. I'll help, whatever you need. We're here for you. That's why you have us. We're your support team. Guys, there are very few brokerages. You have a marketing team. You have a sales team. You have a support team. You have an admin team. You have a compliance team. You have a team. You have a whole company behind you, right? Legitimately, all you need to do is talk to people and provide a good customer experience, good client experience, I should say. That's it. We handle the rest. So just reach out to us. Let us help you. But we don't know how to help you if you don't ask.
And get out of your comfort zone knowing that we have your back. You will not fall. We will not let you fall. But you got to reach out and say, I just found a guy who wants to list his 28-acre fish farm. Now what the hell do I do? We got you, right? Just found a guy who's got a 400-unit apartment complex who says he wanted to sell. What do I do? We got you, right? Don't worry about it. Reach out, guys. Talk with people. You've got one hell of a team, one hell of a support team to exclamation point what you just said on that one, guys. It doesn't get any better than this. That's probably the caption right now. It doesn't. It can't, right? This is it. This is like you manifest the perfect real estate market. You're in it, right? In it, right? In it. There's nothing we could tweak. It is right here. So borrow some of this passion. I'll give you some, right? Need some. Get some goals, guys. Just go make things happen and have some fun. And I love this. So I love Mondays. It's a refresh start. I know we've all worked our ass off on the weekends too, but psychologically it's a new week. So just go. Control your schedule. Go find somebody today that most likely will be the next person to sell their house and start the conversation. You just need to find one good appointment this week, guys. That's all you need to do.
That's it.
Have a wonderful day. Reach out to any of us if you need anything and go kick some butt, guys. And we do love you. This is your week. This is your month. This is your quarter. And have a great day.
Go get them, guys.